Jubilee has just released a video. I only date white men, middle ground. Given that it's a Jubilee video, only God knows where this shit's going. Middle ground.
I prefer to date outside my race. Step forward if you agree with the prompt.
This is a sick Negro.
Realistically, I would definitely want to marry a black man.
Okay.
I know that we've experienced a lot of trauma in our community, and I think that trauma stems back from our colonizers, which have put us against each other, and it makes it difficult for us to come together and be healthy in a relationship.
Okay, so the prompt says, I prefer to date outside my race, and you came up, and then the first thing that comes out your mouth is, realistically, I prefer to date a black man.
Realistically, I would definitely want to marry a black man.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Growing up mixed, just because I did grow up more so with my mom on the white side of my family, just when it came to dating experiences with black men, if anything, they would always tell me, oh, you're really white, or just really racial comments about how I'm mixed that makes me uncomfortable. Like, at the end of the day, I'm black. Right. I understand that I grew up predominantly on the white side of my family, but people don't see me on the street and think that's a white woman. Like,
right. They're gonna look at you as a black woman.
Yeah, I'm a black woman.
And you're gonna go through the experiences that a black woman go through.
Yes, versus always bringing up that I have a white mama or I act a certain way because I grew up white. It's just, I'm me. I grew up how I grew up. And so if I am gonna be in a relationship with a black man, I would like him to just not bring that up. But in my experience, that's been a constant conversation topic.
I feel like if that's her experience, then that's definitely, I mean, it doesn't mean it's valid, but I mean, it's definitely understandable. Her excuse was a lot more, digestible than whatever this woman said. I mean, I don't even know what the hell this woman was talking about with the afro, but let's see what the disagreeers got to say.
My mom, she was adopted by a white family man. She's also half white. Okay. And my parents were divorced after a while, and so I spent a lot of time with her, and we did things that were white. Like, I was in Boy Scouts, and we camped, and we did all these different things that just weren't quote-unquote black. I was reminded that I talked like a white boy all the time. Mm-hmm. And, those sort of things, they can add strain. Is that me saying I wouldn't date a black girl? Of course not. Like, yeah. Of course I try to. I date anybody, but I just think in practice, for whatever reason, circumstantially, it doesn't always happen all the time.
I grew up in a very white area as well, but I found that when I started dating, even though it was only white girls surrounding me, they didn't understand my identity.
Right.
So I was just gonna ask, like, have you found that even though you were in those white situations, did you feel understood by the white women you were dating? Or misunderstood?
Define understood, I guess. I don't.
Are there things that you would express, maybe like politically or identity-wise, that they might be like, I don't really understand that?
I think as a black man, or just anybody dating outside of your race in general, there's no way you date somebody outside of your race and they can completely understand your experience. If you're dating a woman who is Caucasian and you are a black man, there is no way in hell they're gonna understand your complete day-to-day as a black individual in the world. They can't even conceptualize that because they've never walked in those shoes. The same way you as a black person cannot conceptualize the day-to-day of a white person. You can think about it, but you can never really understand it to its fullest extent because you do not walk in those shoes. Let's see what this guy got to say though.
I think it's hard for other races to completely understand what it's like being black and that experience. That's not to say that they can't be empathetic and sympathetic and understand and listen to you and learn things. But fundamentally, I just think a black woman is gonna have a different perspective.
So I'm from St. Louis. I'm not from California. I'm not from LA. So I'm from a predominantly black area. Okay. And so growing up, there was only one white person in my class. And so I've only been exposed to our community. Mm-hmm. And to both of you all's points, my mom is black, my dad is black, my family is predominantly black. So I've been around the black man my entire life. I have so much respect for the black man to where hearing a prompt say, I prefer to date outside my race, it kind of makes me think now, because I've never been exposed truly to the opposite end in such a depth way to where I can look at another man from a different race and say, I wouldn't want to date you over a black man when I have had solely my experiences with them, good and bad. So
yeah, I'd say, a lot of this comes down to what you're raised around as well. Like, if you're somebody who grew up in a very diverse neighborhood or environment where people that are around you constantly are just people that are, from different backgrounds, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, whatever, I think you being exposed to that type of culture will innately allow you to feel more open to dating outside your race, as opposed to being a white guy who grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, or a black person who grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood. Or you can say the same for Hispanics, Sure, you're gonna have those people like in small increments who don't mind leaving the nest, I guess, to go explore what else is out there. But for the most part, I feel like people want to feel comfortable, and a lot of people really only feel comfortable with people they can personally identify with, right? And if those are the people that they grew up around like their whole lives, well, shit, I mean, yeah, they're only gonna date those people primarily.
Whether I had that bad experience, it doesn't make me say, okay, I don't think I want to date black men anymore. I want to go and date a white man. They're going to treat me better. I feel like as a man, you all should be treated as a species in itself. And you all have very intense ways of thinking. And
I
I
can
feel
go both ways.
Yeah. So, true. So I don't think that it has too much to do with race in itself. We have to take a deeper dive into men.
Do you think sometimes that women are black?
What? You got to take a deeper dive into men. I'm not sure I understand what she meant by that. Maybe I wasn't paying too much attention. What does that mean? You got to take a deeper dive into men.
Have black men who, although you all didn't step forward, would say, I don't want a black woman. I watched my mom struggle. I don't like black hair. I don't like black women's attitude. I don't like how they speak. I don't like how they don't respect men. I don't like the fact that they are not subservient enough for me.
Yeah.
Some of those reasons are actually pretty valid, by the way. A woman who doesn't respect you, I mean, all power to you if you don't want them, if you don't like them, yeah. A woman that's, disrespectful, maybe loud. If you don't want to be in a loud environment, well, shit, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Get your ass in a different environment. Do not be around the people you don't want to be around. So yeah, some of those points are valid. To not like someone for their skin, I mean, I'll say it like this, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with a Mexican man or woman primarily wanting to date another Mexican, nor do I think there's anything wrong with a black man or black woman wanting to primarily date a black man or black woman, nor do I think the same thing with a white person. If they only wanted to date a white person, I think that's completely fine.
Is that a problem?
Which one? I said why.
The black man that doesn't like any of the things that you just mentioned.
It's not a problem. I think it's a preference thing. I think that we've been dating the wrong people. You see that this woman is very loud and strong-willed.
Yo, look at this guy's built though, y'all. My man got like he looked like, I don't know, like some kind of like wizard or something. You know what I'm saying? The dreadlocks with the beard, man. I don't know. Like, this is not a everyday look, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a very mythical look, I must say. Very impressive.
I prefer black women. I attract a lot of black women, but I'm open to dating all types of women. I have even in the past. But when I do date black women, I definitely date a specific type of black women, not the representation that we have on the East Coast, that statue. Are you guys familiar with that by any chance? I find
That was in New York?
Yeah, is it in New York?
I think so, in
Yeah.
Times Square of the black lady.
I don't date, I mean, everyone knows that black woman. I find it that they can be very, it's almost like they try to be the man in the relationship. And there can only be one man in the relationship. And when it comes to relationships, the man is always...
Holy shit, I just noticed his hand. Y'all can't see that. Yo, my man's hand got cut off, man. Shit, man. R.I.P. that hand, bro. Lefty, man. Shit, man. Maybe I should move this over here so y'all can see it. But shit, bro. Goddamn.
Gonna take the path of least resistance. And so, yeah, I usually date black women, but it wouldn't be that particular.
It's kind of throwing me off a little bit.
When you say that particular kind, because that was just a statue, can you go
Well, but it's a representation, right? It's a,
But
even...
it was just like, we have an image here, and this is the image, and you look at it. You don't know this woman. You've never had a conversation with this woman. You don't
See, I
know
would
who
say that I
she
do
is.
know that woman.
From the looks of her.
Yeah, I would say that I know
So
exactly
are
who
we
that
saying
is.
because, let's go into it. Are we saying because she's a
health-wise.
dark-skinned, heavy-set black woman? Is that what you guys getting at? Because that's, we only have a visualization of who she is.
Yeah, that's the representation.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
I wouldn't date that particular kind of woman. And,
Gotcha.
Stereotypes
and then when you
come into
start
play.
talking about weight and stuff in the black community, it can be really sensitive for the women, but that does play into attraction.
But that needs to be a conversation that we need to have, though.
We always have it, and they don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't see myself dating no obese woman, bro. Personally. Right? And the funny part about that is I don't think there's a lot of obese women that want to date obese men. You know, those are the same obese women that would be looking for a man in shape, a man that's strong, a man that can lift them up, a man that looks like he could be an athlete. You know what I mean? Those type of women are even trying to get at men that are, you know, athletic built and stuff like that, strong and stuff like that. They're not going after other big dudes. And if they do, it's because they know damn well they can't get no guy that they really want. You know what I mean? So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, a man not wanting to date a woman that's obese. I mean, you know, what's wrong with that? Date within your weight class.
Exactly.
Like Lizzo. Body positivity.
Right.
I mean,
Try telling a black woman about her
Accountability is what I noticed.
Yes, I agree. Accountability, major accountability.
Yeah.
You said you date people that you attract. I think that's really important that he said that. Because at the end of the day, like, we can talk about who our preferences are, whatever. You can only date who wants to date you at the end of the day. Which is why I asked the question about superimposing what you think a black man should be onto a black person. I feel like a lot of the qualities I bring to the table, other races seem to appreciate and value a little bit more.
What qualities
Like what? Yeah.
are they?
Yeah, what qualities?
Okay, so I've heard a bunch of times growing up, like, oh, like, I want, like, a thug, for instance. And I understand, like, that's stereotypical.
Oh, yeah, I can relate to that for a little bit. I can relate to that a little bit. In high school and middle school, my environment where I grew up, there were definitely girls that were into, like, the thugs, like the guys that were skipping class, the guys that, you know what I'm saying, were low-key on that gangbanging shit, but they weren't really about that shit for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys like that, the neighborhood I grew up in, which was pretty low income, I'd say, low to middle income. Yeah, the girls were definitely into that. And niggas like me back then, I was not choice number one. In fact, I don't feel like I truly started to get eyes from girls until like my senior year of high school. And it went up exponentially when I got to college, especially my last couple years of college. That's when, like, bro, my whole world got shifted upside down. I went from basically being like a dude who got no hoes, I'm gonna be completely honest, from like elementary to half of high school, you know, freshman, sophomore year of high school, to junior year, senior year of high school. I was getting you know, maybe some looks here and there, not from like the baddies or nothing, but you know, your typical, you know, average girl type shit. And you know, it'll be nothing crazy, you know, nobody would really talk to me, I wouldn't really talk to anybody else. And then like going to college, and then like, yo, like that shit was crazy. And then like now it's like completely, now I feel like I'm the best I've ever looked ever. And I'm 25 right now, you know what I mean? My whole 20s was like just life, you know, completely flipping on its head. But anyways, I'm going on a bit of a rant. Point being, yes, bro, I think depending on the environment you grow up in, there are definitely girls that were into that, you know, archetype. And if you didn't fit that bill, and, you know, you're in an environment where, you know, that's you know, what's in demand from, you know, the opposite sex, the people you're attracted to, well, it's either you shift to appear to be that, or you're left behind. I was definitely left behind for that moment in time. I know plenty of dudes who made that shift. You know, they literally faked it till they made it. You know what I mean? They went from being a quote unquote nobody for not, you know, for not being a thug, to trying to attempt that lifestyle, wearing all the skinny jeans and you know, the, what do you call it, the puffer jackets and all that stuff, and you know, all that other bullshit, you know, shooting dice and shit. Some of them were successful, some of them not so much. But
I guess I kind of understand what some of the appeal of that might be, I suppose. But at the same time, like, if we're trying to like build a healthy community, why are we prioritizing that?
That bores a lot of women in the black community.
But that's my
when
point.
You start
like,
talking about positive things and stuff like that, they want somebody that's going to be destructive generally.
I disagree.
I don't disagree at all. I've seen so many black women that say they want thugs, they want the gangster type, they feel protected. So much so
You
to the
gotta
point
have a
where,
gun.
yeah, they like the emotional
I
highs
don't
and
really
lows is
see
like
that
sex in and of
personally.
itself to her. I've seen women like this where I've seen men give them STDs and they're still banging on his door like I love you. I'm like, who's really the fool here, you know?
But are
So-
thugs the only ones that are giving out STDs? Is that what we're saying? And
Majority.
I have to majority.
Majority.
Oh, you're talking to a public health background right now. Let me
bad,
let
my
me tell you. It is not thugs.
I also have a
There
public
is
health
no
background.
line that
Bachelor's.
says I'm a thug. There are white men, black men, Puerto Rican men, Hispanic, and in general, there's no percentage that says only thugs are giving the most STDs out. I'll tell you one thing.
He didn't
black
say
women,
only thugs.
heterosexual black women are the most high at risk for HIV right now, and it's not just from black men. It's from all men. That's why I want us to really dive deep into.
Who are the majority of black women having smecks with though? Who are the majority of black women banging? Let's be honest. Like I know she's mentioning the other races, but like other black women will let you. I think it's even common knowledge that black women primarily ever fuck with just black guys. You know what I'm saying? Like don't get me wrong, there are people that you know mess with other races, but like the majority of black women are smashing black guys, bro. So you know, and if the primary dude doing the smashing is a thug, I mean, you do the math. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about here?
And then you're speaking of a community saying they only want thugs. I think education
Mostly.
plays a major role in that because if you're an educated woman, I'm an educated black woman from the trenches. Have you all heard that term? The
we
trenches.
wouldn't be talking
Okay,
to
bro,
you.
we
I-
have to
no,
get
no,
it.
no,
You
no.
wouldn't be the archetype.
No,
but there
of
is a
course.
large majority of black women.
Like,
that
where are
would-
the studies
yes.
coming from? Where
Where are the studies coming from?
Right.
The numbers, the CDC.
Whoa.
Who?
like specific
Local-
city, state?
Nationally.
Where are the studies coming from? The numbers. I ain't gonna lie. She was quick to pull out that CDC shit. I'm sure she couldn't cite that shit if she wanted to. But let's see what else she got to say to that. I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Who?
Like specific
Local-
city, state?
Nationally.
Okay.
Nationally.
Can I just say something? I think we also need to look at
I
what
don't
you
know.
said earlier, our environment. Why are we being quote unquote hostile? Why do we have these masculine features? It's because we're put into these situations where we have to be a certain way or evoke certain characteristics. And although like certain things are portrayed online heavily, you know, like, oh, black women want to be like sexy red, black women want to be sexualized. So kind of something that we should all look at is taking assumptions out of the window, because there are a lot of assumptions being brought up. So like, who are you talking to right now? You're not talking to a heavy representation. Obviously, you're speaking with people who are heavily educated right now. So kind of consider that and notice that, you know, you're not always going to find a black woman that is ghetto. You could also find a very smart black woman. You know, you're not always going to find a smart white girl. You could find a very ghetto white girl. And stereotypes are very important in conversations like this because we need to throw them out the window.
I think stereotypes are actually quite necessary. I think stereotypes exist for a reason. It's not to say that you have to stereotype everybody you come across, but I think, you know, for the most part, a stereotype wouldn't exist if it wasn't true to some extent generally. Now, obviously with the media and stuff like that, it can kind of cloud things in judgment. And to that point, yes, I would tell her, or I would say, like, you know, she has a point there. But like, it's like this, right? If you see a guy in a ski mask walking down, it's like 10 p.m. You know what I'm saying? He's wearing baggy clothing and he has his hands in his fucking jacket like this. Would you not stereotype that dude to say, okay, this motherfucker might mug me right now. He might rob me. You'd be a fool not to stereotype that. Okay, so stereotyping definitely does have its uses. I hear what she's saying, but like she's trying to make it sound like that's an absolute. It's not an absolute. There are times where you should stereotype, honestly, and other times where it's not all that appropriate.
Black men are intimidated by successful black women.
Oh shit. Of course, all the women got up for this.
It's
See,
good that
let's
you're being
talk
real
about
with
it.
yourself, though. That's important.
Whoa, wait.
It's good that you're being real with yourself, though.
Sometimes-
That's important.
Wait. Okay. I will say, like, sometimes. I'm not going to say all black men are. I know I've heard from plenty of my friends and plenty of older women that I know who are kind of successful, and they're like, yeah, it's really hard to date because men will be like, oh, you make.
Did y'all see that
successful.
poll? 65% global Fizz community poll. So I guess they did a poll and 62%, my bad, said yes, that black men are intimidated by successful black women. Is that a thing? Me personally, I don't think black men are necessarily intimidated by a successful, like when we talk about intimidation in this aspect, we're not talking about physically imposing intimidation, right? We're talking about intimidation in a sense of I guess a sense of fear that a woman is better than you. I don't think a lot of black men have a fear of women being better than them or having more than them, right? Like if I go out walking or going about my day and I see a successful black woman just casually doing her thing, I'm not just gonna be over there cowering or like be fearful, or, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll just be like, okay, yeah, you know, she's just doing her thing. However, I do think that a lot of black men are very cautious when it comes to a very successful black woman, in that with success, with some black women, because it's not all black women, but with some black women, and women in general, but we're going to just stick to black women because that's the prompt, there is a level of ego boost, right, that comes out of a lot of black women when they hit success. Right, and that ego, honestly, it's actually quite disgusting, because you know they start to kind of look down on you, if you think about it, right? Like let's say you were in a relationship with a woman who was successful. You know, she has a lot of money. She's the breadwinner. You know, she's very well known and things like that, and you're just kind of her boyfriend. Well, there's a lot of scenarios where the woman wouldn't necessarily see you as an equal, even as a human being. She'd be thinking that you're holding her back. You know what I mean? But you know, I don't think it applies to every black woman. I think it just, you know, there's a good amount though.
And they're like, yeah, it's really hard to date because men will be like, oh, you make more money than me or something.
You guys like to say that we shouldn't compare, as women, we shouldn't compare ourselves to men because we'll never be the same as you guys. But you guys do that with us. Compare yourselves to us. Like, I don't make as much as her, or I don't have all the degrees that she has.
I don't know if it's the same kind of comparison we're talking about, right? So I think a lot of the time when people are saying women shouldn't compare themselves to men, is women shouldn't try to be men versus men comparing themselves to women. It's more like, am I fulfilling that?
I feel like if Shawty more successful than you, she'll never respect you. I gotta be the breadwinner. That shit got minus 750 votes. God damn. Yeah, not too many people. I wonder what the comments were of that. Yeah, that goes back to what I was trying to say initially. Like, I don't think that necessarily applies to a lot of women, but I think a lot of women just wouldn't even look your way if you were, quote unquote, less successful than you. It's not to say they won't look your way. There are different aspects to it. Like, so if you're, you know, like a 6'3", you know, muscular, athletic build with a good-looking face, and you make less than a woman, however, you're able to keep up with yourself, you're able to take care of yourself, there's a woman out there that would take you. You know what I'm saying? Even if she made more than you. If you look good, you know what I'm saying, you're able to take care of yourself, and you're physically imposing in a way, sure. However, if you're like not that good looking, you know, pretty ugly, pretty short, and you also don't make too much as well, and you're trying to get a woman who is pretty that makes way more than you or just more than you, your chances of bagging are pretty low. So I don't think it necessarily really comes down to the money for real. The money can play an aspect if you allow it to, but you know, that's all a matter of mindset though.
Traditional masculine role that's kind of expected. Now we can have the conversation as to whether or not that's still apt for our time or not, whether that's still relevant. I would say it is, just because it seems like people seem to appreciate, at least from my perspective, women seem to appreciate men who make more than them still.
Intimidation is a form of insecurity. So that stems from lack of communication and not dating someone on your level. Not you specifically, but you know, if the person isn't dating someone on their level, there needs to be that communication, because obviously that person is with you for other reasons.
I don't want to make the broad statement that it's all black men, because it's not. It's specifically black men that for whatever reason in their own life, they're not happy with where they are at. They have some sort of insecurity. Maybe it's career insecurity, financial insecurity. So if they're with that archetypal strong black woman, in my experience, instead of being like, oh, like, that's awesome, you have a degree in this, you got this job, you did this, they're like, okay, big mama, you got money? You got money, big mama? I'm like, what the hell?
Big mama? Bro, what kind of dudes are you dealing with? Big mama. I don't know any dude that talks like that.
Or like, I've even had experiences where they were like basically slut shaming me, talking down to me because I got a better job or I lost weight and people started noticing that. So now I was a whore. But in my experience, if I've been with a black man who, he is successful, he has a job that he likes, he's pursuing his hobbies, he has X, Y, and Z, comments like that are never made because he's not
supporting you.
Yeah, he's not internalizing your success as his failure.
Yeah.
Met that.
I think there is some truth to that to an extent. You know, I think a lot of guys, you know, there's a societal pressure for men to uphold certain things. You know, there are certain expectations of guys that we have in society, the same way we have certain, expectations of women within society. For guys, it's you know, being a provider, being a protector, you know, and things of that nature. And as for women, you know, there's a high expectation for them to be beautiful and soft and kind and stuff like that. So, for example, now, if a woman were to be dating a guy who was a lot more attractive than she was, I mean, let's just picture a guy that was just like, let's say he's an 8 and she's like a 5. You better believe that woman would be insecure as fuck, right? Because deep down, she understands that her even being with a guy like this, like, that doesn't happen. You know, oftentimes for a guy and this shit goes deep, bro, because in a way, you can say that that dude is dating down, right? In terms of the physical aspect of things. For a woman, dating down would be like monetary stuff, right? Like, if she makes more, she's dating down. If she makes more than a guy, she's dating down. Whereas with a guy, if he looks better than a girl, he's dating down. So, like, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, man, this shit goes deep, bro. This shit goes deep.
Across all men, they just feel intimidated when you are successful. And in my experience too, I do tend to be more of a dominant black woman, and I know that's not everyone's cup of tea.
Hell no.
And that's totally okay, but it does scare some men.
Does it make you feel like you shouldn't lead with, because I used to be the type of person, I would lead with like all my accomplishments or my businesses. I would lead with that thinking that,
don't do that shit.
oh, he might like me even more because this is what I do, or, you know? So now it's just like, I don't like to share anything when I'm dating. Like, I don't do anything, I just sit at home.
What I've had to learn is, because I used to diminish myself a lot, when at the end of the day, I want something that's real. I want someone who's gonna love me for me and all that encompasses that. So I'm gonna be unapologetically 100% me. I'm loud, I talk my shit, I speak my mind, and if you don't like that, then you're not for me.
That's right. I don't.
Yeah, you don't need to diminish yourself, but at the same time, nobody needs to accept you. You know, if you're somebody that's not someone else's cup of tea, shit, if they don't want you, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to diminish yourself, but I certainly don't need to accept you.
I think that this specific prompt goes back to the original prompt. Men who prefer to date women outside of their race, I believe that it's not really a race thing, it's a class thing. And I honestly believe that if I'm a black woman and you already view me as a stereotypical black woman, loud, disrespectful, I don't respect black men, if you view me as that way, on top of me being successful. See, I don't have to be more successful than you. Sometimes men, specifically black men, believe that you don't need to have so much confidence in yourself. I feel like you are competing with me.
Yes.
My success does not revolve around your success. We should want to be successful together, which leads back to that specific detail about creating a healthy relationship, a healthy black successful relationship. And I believe
agree. If there are actually guys out there that feel the need to put down a woman for even just pursuing her passions, you know what I'm saying? Because for whatever reason you're interpreting that as competition, bro, you're a fucking idiot.
I wanted to unpack the on your level thing that you said. So what does that mean, on your level?
Whether that's financially, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, anything or all of the above. Someone who you feel you resonate well with, no insecurities. I feel like, I don't know, did that answer?
No.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I guess for the purpose of this conversation, want y'all's opinions on this. Do you think black women generally would date or marry a man who wasn't financially or had no prospects of being financially, socioeconomically on their level?
Yeah. Yes.
They would, but would it be long term? No, I don't think so. I think if they're trying to have a good time, certainly. But long term, nah. Some would. Majority, a black woman? Come on, man.
I see it every day.
Literally.
Every single day.
I wonder why the perception isn't that then. Like I wonder where that comes from. Then. Like the majority, and I'm sure maybe someone will agree with me when they walk over here. Because necessarily you're not going. I mean, black women are most educated right now. Like necessarily you are not.
And they're also the most in depth when it comes to student loan debt. Yes, they are the most educated percentage wise. With the education comes a lot of depth, and they also hold degrees, by the way, that are not the most profitable. You know what I mean? So they hold the most student depth of any group, anywhere, of any demographic, yet they also are getting jobs that aren't paying the most as well. It's quite the strangle. I mean, imagine going in depth for a piece of paper. I don't know, man. Is that really it? And I also think I saw something that said that black women are they hold 58 to 60% of. Hold on, let me look this up real quick. So yeah, right here, student loan debt and gender. Women hold the majority of student loan debt in the U.S. Women account for about 58 to 60% of all student loan borrowers and hold roughly 2/3 of outstanding balances, around $900 billion out of 1.6 trillion. God damn! Holy shit! Yo, these motherfuckers racking up them bills. This is particularly because women are more likely to attend college and graduate schools than men, and they also earn less after graduation on average, making it hard for them to pay loans down quickly. Sheesh. Black women in particular carry the highest average student loan debt compared to any other race, gender group. A lot of people like to talk about the most educated group. And yeah, you could be the most educated group on average. However, if it's coming in at the expense of student loans and you being in debt and you earning less after graduation on average, making it hard to pay loans down quickly. I mean, like, dude, like, are you even winning at that point, or are you just a person with a piece of paper? And then, of course, these people are looking for husbands and shit to help them pay off. I mean, the husband he probably doesn't have student loan debt, and if he does, it's probably not as much, right? So so these women, not only are they coming into a situation educated, quote unquote, but they're also bringing in depth. They're bringing in baggage, right? Things they're probably not going to pay off themselves. So they're looking for a man to take care of that.
Going to probably find a black man who is on your level. Like, it's just, the numbers are not there. So a lot of black men might feel like, okay, you might just be settling because we're here now, but would you be dating me if it weren't somebody else?
You know, I think that's actually really interesting that you mentioned that, because it's something that is socially imposed, and I think a lot of men, not just black men, but men in general, seek social validation from their peers. And so when other men look at each other, they're like, okay, well, what are you doing for work? Are you making more money than me? You know, obviously they're more competitive with each other, and then obviously that brings competitiveness within the relationship, which is something that shouldn't be the case, but it is in a lot of situations.
How? What the fuck? That doesn't even make any sense. Because he's competitive in the workplace, he brings that into relationship and competes with his wife. I think I see quite the opposite. If anything, I'm seeing, and you know, I'm just speaking from, you know, my point of view on what I'm seeing, but I'm seeing a lot of guys saying, listen, I'm out in the workforce, busting my ass, competing against all these other guys. When I come back to my house, that is the last thing I'm trying to do with my woman. You know what I mean? That's what I'm seeing. So I don't know if I'm in a different bubble, which could very well be the case, given that we're all kind of in our own social bubbles, and you know, kind of what our algorithm feeds us is what we're you know, into. But that just sounded crazy to me.
The only reason I disagreed with the prompt is just because I agree with everything you guys are saying, but personally, because my mum, who's black, she was always very successful, so I've never like felt intimidated by success. But I agree with what you were saying, that I think that in my experience, if you aren't perceived to be on the financial level of a woman, then she'll just look past you straight away. I'm a musician, so like we know that we're not going to be financially successful until it hits. So I'm always more like, see my potential. But I think there are a lot of people who don't acknowledge potential. They're just like, you need money now, that's all I'm going for.
That's me. I don't see potential.
Oh, we could tell, woman. You didn't need to say a word. You know what I'm saying? I could look at you and automatically tell. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Listen, potential is a very scary thing, you know, especially for somebody who's looking to get into something serious. I mean, to say potential, I mean, what does that even mean? The potential to do what? There's the potential to succeed. There's the potential to fail. You know what I'm saying? It's a slippery slope, and you can't necessarily gauge where somebody ends up. Now, if the person ends up doing well, you know what I'm saying? Shit, niggas, we singing Kumbaya, we eating pork chops and steak, nigga, you know what I'm saying? But if you end up failing, then it's like, shit, I just took a gamble, and I'm stuck with this dude. Maybe you have his kid. And, you know, now you're resentful of your decision. You're putting that on him. The kid is seeing all that shit. You know, there's fights, divorce, you know, courts, lawyers, and all this other shit, man. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? She did look like the type, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Joel.
Is that her real hair, by the way?
I'm 26.
Appreciate the honesty.
There's so much potential that honestly, when I first see you and you are not economically secure, I'm not looking at you. I don't have intentions on being the breadwinner. But being a breadwinner and being successful are two different things.
Yeah, women don't want, not all women, but most women, in particular black women, not even just black women, it's most women. But when we're talking about the subject of, you know, black women, they don't want to be the breadwinner. You know what I mean? They're constantly looking to date up. You know, they want you to earn more. You know, I don't think that's old news. You know what I'm saying? But it is kind of weird though, because you know, it's almost as if you're not able to do that, you're useless to them in a sense. But then again, you know, like I said earlier, there are people who break those rules. You know, if you look a certain type of way, you carry a certain type of charisma, you may be able to get away with not making more than her. You know what I mean? You just got to make sure that she makes enough to where it doesn't bother her as much. But shit, even then, man, you're still gonna feel some form of pressure. You're not gonna be all the way, you know, safe unless you're both making a substantial amount. Let's say she's making $500K and you're making like 180. It's like shit. At that point, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying?
No man is intimidated by any woman because of her credentials. That's not the case. It's usually the character and traits that come with that. They usually have extremely high egos and you can't tell them anything. And they usually come off extremely masculine. Like what you said you can be masculine and it might be too much for men. It's an attraction thing. Men are not attracted to masculine traits in women. That's what it is.
I don't think that's necessarily true, because someone who, for example, I've known men who were intimidated and jealous because I had a college degree and they did not. It's not just the trait that came with that. It was, I have a diploma, they did not. It's not just
being jealous because somebody has a diploma and you did it. I wonder how that conversation went though. That doesn't even seem real. He was jealous because I had a college degree. Like I would need to know how that interaction went on for the jealousy to even happen. You know what I don't know. Something about that doesn't even feel real, bro.
That's my quote unquote masculine
Right.
traits. That was a turnoff.
I would say that might be.
Were you braggadocious about it? Were you like, oh yeah, I have a degree and you don't? Like, I don't know how somebody would just, I don't know.
unique to him, but generally, it's the traits that come with it. It's not the degree, it's the traits. This idea of dating down and dating on your level stems from women. When men have money, they don't view it as dating down when they're with their.
That's what I said earlier. Dudes with money don't look at women with less than as dating down. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. They don't see it as beneath. They don't look at the woman as if it's beneath him to even be doing this right now. They just see it as, hey man, I'm into this girl. I want to take care of her. I want to build a family and things like that. A woman in the same situation would literally, they can't even conceptualize the idea of dating down, right? I mean, some can, but you know, taking care of a man and stuff like that, man, fuck out of here, bro. Come on, G.
You guys say that, not men. If a man has money and he's taking care of a woman, there's no point that he thinks he's dating down. He's just taking care of his woman.
I think it's dangerous for a woman to date down because we see it all the time. Men.
You guys all said that you would, though. You guys all said that you would date someone that made less than you, and then you said that
No.
you didn't.
I didn't respond because
Weird
I
that
thought
they're a
Did you
woman.
say that?
I never.
I thought
Did they not say that?
Do you think black women generally would date or marry a man who wasn't financially or had no prospects of being financially, socioeconomically on their level?
Yes.
they said, then they
I
all
never-
switched.
Sworn one of
We didn't
y'all.
see
One
that.
of y'all said
No,
that.
we didn't see potential. I don't see
Yeah.
potential.
No,
I-
no. That wasn't a potential question, bro. I don't think that was a potential question. I think the question was like, what? Oh my God, what was it? I don't know. It was not a potential. Listen, man, and listen, women are good at this shit. They're just trying to spin the questions around this shit right now.
Yeah, I appreciate economic security. That's all I want. If
Oh, we
you are
know that.
secure as a man,
What if you're in a field where like you're still studying, or it's something that you know that the payoff isn't immediate?
I wouldn't view that as potential, though. I mean, okay, you can, but honestly, if someone says, I'm going to school for psychology, when you graduate, if you want to become a psychologist, I know that you have to go and get a master's degree. 9 times out of 10, you have to go and get a doctorate degree to become a big breadwinner, okay? I know that eventually you're leaving from that field of study and you are in the works of going and becoming economically secure. See, that's not potential to me. You are a musician, yes?
Yeah.
And so you make money.
Yes.
If you take on one extra person and they lose their job, do you think that you'll be able to carry you all's household?
Soon.
Soon. Okay, so myself
Broken
listening
Nick.
to you, as I stated, if I talk to you as a friend, because that's how dating starts, I'm listening to you, and if you have enough charisma, I'll look at you and I'll say, okay, this is a man who I think will eventually become economically secure for us. See, I want to date someone who is economically secure for himself first. So that's what I'm thinking about
I'll
potential.
be honest, I don't believe any of this. I think it just comes straight to this superficial stuff.
Superficial.
I mean,
That motherfucker was just rambling, bro. No cap.
to be honest, I don't believe any of this.
You don't
I think
believe
it
any
just
of
comes
this?
straight to just superficial stuff.
Superficial.
I mean,
to
we
the
live in a
chase.
superficial society. Women only want the men with money.
Yeah, as they should.
Well, thank you.
But isn't,
Let's just cut the BS.
I feel that's
it's
so-
about money.
Yeah, it is. That should be the number one.
Hey, and I only want a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. You know what I mean? Now this woman right here, listen, man, she might end up with a man who gets a lot of money. Probably. I mean, if she puts herself in the right circle, is it going to be somebody who is generally perceived as attractive, or you know, somebody that other women would be gawking at? Probably not. You know, but most likely not. It may be some average looking dude, you know, some Joe Schmo nigga, you know, who's into crypto or some shit like that. But, you know, if that's what she's truly into, all power to her. I think we all reserve the right to be into what, you know, we want to be into, and you know, things of that nature.
Thing when you're dating, that should be the first thing that
Why?
you.
Materialism
one of the
should be
things,
the number one
it's
thing.
not just materialism. It's that
it is materialism.
as
There's so
a
many assholes
woman,
with money,
as a
though.
woman, we
That's
need
what
to
I'm saying.
know.
It's not just about money, but I
think
do
it is.
agree
It
it's
is just
important.
about money.
It's not.
There's just a lot of
Money should
BS.
be the number one thing one of the top things that a woman should look at when she's dating.
It is the main
Look,
topic.
It
Are you
is.
saying
It should be.
Are you saying one of or the most important?
The most important, yes.
I partially disagree because I think there are kind of like we mentioned earlier, there are preferences. If you find someone that is interested in a certain characteristic that you have, perfect, great for you. And so we have these assumptions that, oh, all women are superficial. That is not the case. Absolutely.
Majority.
Okay, well,
Yes,
that is.
they are.
That's what the numbers
Maybe
I don't
what
care
you
about words, I
encounter.
care about actions. The actions say that women are superficial.
Maybe what you encountered, that may possibly be
I
the
think
case.
there will be a lot of men that agree
However,
with me.
can you let me finish?
Yes.
Okay. Historically,
Holy shit.
if we look at the role of a man and we look at the role of a woman, that is what is proposed societally to us. And maybe it comes down to security. That is a very,
Yes.
very important thing
Security.
within
Yes.
a relationship, within a community, within a society. Security is important. At the end of the day, you need money to put food on the table. Whether you're by yourself, whether you're in a relationship, whether you
Right.
have kids, right? Is that a concern?
My thing is, if you're
Yes.
dating someone strictly for money, I don't want to hear you getting angry about him sleeping around or him doing whatever.
The
If
men
you
with
married
no
him-
money do the
Cheap.
same thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a species topic we're talking about. That's a
Men with
species.
no
And
money
then
have
we
less
say-
options to do that.
And more time.
My point, but what I'm saying is
But
like,
do the men with no money really have the option
What is it,
to
man?
sleep around with a lot of women?
Yes.
Yes. We
They
see it all the
do.
time.
Because it's a lot of women who
Yeah, there are. I think dudes with no money do have a lot of. Dudes with no money do have a lot of time. And listen, man, I think there's a point in my life where I was working a lot, right, getting to the bag as some would call it, and within that time frame, right, getting all that money, I had to sacrifice a lot of my time at a workspace, getting shit done. And by the time you're done with that, you go home, you're tired, you go to sleep, blah, 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 right? When you have a lot of time on your hands, dog, you got nothing but time to focus on, smashing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you may strike out a lot or, this, that, and the third, but essentially you have all the time in the world. So you're probably smashing more than a multimillionaire, because that millionaire has to sacrifice so much time to go get that paper. He's not just sitting around. He got shit to do. You know what I'm saying? So in a sense, a broke dude can probably smash more. Now, that's probably about it. Can he end up in a long-term relationship? I don't know about all that, but if this nigga goes to the club 3 times a week, I mean, and a multimillionaire goes to the club once a couple months, or even steps outside to go socialize once a couple months, well, unless he's buying it, he's not going to be smashing as much. I'll tell you that.
have
The numbers aren't in his favor.
less money than the no money. And if you are a man who has no money, but you're with a woman who has money, you have money. Because that's how women are.
That also
Hell
goes
no.
back into validation. With you guys saying that's a bad man if he doesn't have X, Y, Z, then you also need to look at, why does a man need to be emasculated for not being where he wants to be?
And if you're a wealthy man,
Wait, what? This woman right here, bro.
That also goes back into validation.
This woman right here has said some takes that just make me scratch my head. I'm over here like, bro, what are you even fucking talking about? Let's see what she's saying. What are you even saying?
money, you have money. Because that's how women are.
That also goes back into validation. With you guys saying that's a bad man if he doesn't have X, Y, Z, then
Okay.
you also need to look at, why does a man need to be emasculated for not being where he wants to be?
And if you're a wealthy man and you want other women,
Yeah, bro, that shit made no sense. Even this woman right here had to just completely switch the topic. Bro, what the fuck is she even talking? What is this motherfucker right here even talking about, bro? That shit made no sense.
get into a polygamous relationship. You do not have to cheat.
But it's kind of like common sense in modern times that men at the top 10% that most women want are
This nigga watch too much Red Pill content. I can already tell.
generally like that and have options. And they're not going to settle for just one woman.
So why portray as if you want one woman?
Who
I don't
said
think they do.
portray? Who said
I
they
don't think
portray
do.
as they want one
It's
woman?
not a secret.
Most men go to that level just so they can get the amount of women.
It's a complete double standard, but I think it is the reality that I think men want the idea of this woman is only having sex with me because men.
Territorial.
Yeah,
Dominate.
exactly. Yeah, again, this is a double standard, not excusing this, but the
I mean, I think there are women who probably think that way too. You know, I'm sure there's a woman out here who doesn't want to picture her boyfriend smashing the next girl. So it's not an exclusive thing to guys, but I guess whatever.
The amount of men who are obsessed with a woman being a virgin, but also wanting them to be this like sexual dominatrix as well.
Yeah, those people are delusional. You know, if you want your woman to be a virgin, but at the same time you want her to be a sexual freak in the bed, I mean, bro, that has to be like some kind of oxymoron. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you even talking about? You want her to be a virgin, so she has no experience, yet you are expecting her to be a freak? Are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah, those guys are delusional. They're stupid.
Complete idiocy, but yeah, I think unfortunately men would rather know that their women are only sleeping with them, but then they are happy to give it out wherever.
I disagree. I think men just obviously they want their women to only be sexual with them, not with other men, and I don't think that's stupid or idiotic in any way.
Well, I just think it's a double standard, because if we expect ourselves to be able to put it out anywhere, then I think it would be fair.
There's a reason
it depends
why.
the person, depends the kind of guy you're talking about.
There's a reason why women can get pregnant by one man every 9 months.
Bro, they know this nigga is. Bro, you are a red pill connoisseur, bro. He's just spilling out shit he's heard people say online at this point. Talking, there's a reason one man can multiply with multiple women, and and one woman can only multiply once with one man. It's like, bro, like, come on, dog. You are spilling nigga. Hop off the fucking red pill content, bro.
Necessarily what?
Look at this guy's smirk as he's about to ask this question.
I just wonder, do most women want to sleep with multiple people the way most men want to sleep with multiple people?
Yes. Yes, they do, and they'll never admit it. They will never admit it. I think if women were given the option to not be socially shamed and genuinely get to sleep with who they want with no repercussions, oh yeah. I mean, they do it anyway, right? They're just a lot more discreet with it. But like, they would go to town, most definitely. Maybe not too crazy, you know what I mean? But like, they would definitely, yeah, they'll be popping shit for sure.
I think. Do they want to say?
Watch them not answer the question though.
I would say yes. They do it.
I just think that men, a lot of guys intrinsically, when they have more options, they want to exercise them. Versus, I think a lot of women, a lot of time when they're committed to one person, would rather just be with that.
Bro, you should have just let them answer that question. I actually wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear the answer. This nigga just basically answered it for them, man. And look at her face. She don't believe that bullshit you just said, nigga. Even her, she has a smirky ass smile on her face because she knows that's complete bullshit. This one was like, ain't no way he let us go out scotch free without having to answer that bullshit. Bro, you literally just sold that question, dog. All right, man, I'm gonna cut it there. Let me know what you guys think, man. It was an interesting debate, a lot of great topics. Some shit that was said was pretty fucking stupid in my opinion, but overall not too bad, man. Not too bad.